Hello, good morning, beautiful people. Welcome to this speech. The name of the speech is Traditional Animation, Modern 2D, The Art of Cookie Cutter. Who is familiar with Cookie Cutter, the game? I'm super depressed now, just two people. Okay, I'm this guy. My name is Stefano. My surname is this weird things over here. I think it sounds like Guglielmana, sounds like that. And I'm an artist at Unity, but I'm even an artist and director at Subcal Joint, a company that I founded in UK 2 years ago. What we'll be talking about today? First thing first, boring things. What's this? So we will move on full-on animation and lit environmentals, sparkles and shaders, everything related to how to do 2D in Unity in a creative way. I'm all about art, I'm not technical at all, so I will talk about art. So during my last years, I was splitting between two different things. I was an artist during the day, and I was working at Unity for Unity project. A lot of the times they come to me with some idea for a new project, and my role is to dress it and to make it special or to make it look cool, to give you eye candy in some way. So I was working with the Unity Learn team, and actually we changed names so many times that I don't even remember what we started when we were calling when we started. And this is some example of my work. I work at John Lemon, the 3D beginner game kit. I work at so many of them. And it's super fun to work with Unity because every time, again, they come to me with something and I just need to dress it in the best way possible. For example, okay, we made a demo about this new feature. Let's try to make, I don't know, stealth game, a little stealth game demo. And you can have the creative force to come out with weird things like, okay, maybe it can be some sort of hide-and-seek game. Okay, maybe it can be some sort of, the main character can be like a lemon with horns for some reason. Maybe the enemy can be cute ghost. You know, it's a lot of fun. But at the same time, during the nights or in my free time, I had this weird urge to come out with something that was really mine. So I start blending and taking all of the ingredients and all of the inspiration that I like during these years or during my childhood. And I try to blend them together. I started with this character that was discarded from Unity project. Her name is Cherry, I will show her in a while. And from there, I try to, again, blend all of my inspiration, blend all of the things that I love in order to make a project. Mainly the things that I loved the most was the discarded character and a lot of punk rock music. But at the same time, the vision was to make something that was looking like a 90s TV cartoon. And in there, I can blend all of the things like comic book that I like, TV shows, all of those things. Because I think that if you want to do art, you don't have to copy what you love, but you have to absorb it, you have to blend it inside and to puke it out with your own, you know, smell. So yeah, this project, it was a lot of fun at the beginning, but it became like 6 years of development. 4 years, it was me alone with some random collaborators, and the last 2 years, I finally found a publisher and I had a team. We started developing Cookie Cutter with Unity 2018 and we released it with Unity 2022. We changed so many versions of Unity. So again, I got all of these ideas, all of this vision, and finally I combined in this. Cookie Cutter, techno, pop punk, post-kawaii, Metroidvania. Ask me later what it means. I have different story every time you ask me. So the first 4 years, I work on a vertical slice. Who knows what a vertical slice is? Raise your hand. Okay, a vertical slice is more or less, I want to buy you something, I want to show you something, I want to make a product. And instead of doing the entire product, I'm doing a vertical slice. For example, Metroidvania kind of game, It's a combat game, vertical slice. I will show you one enemy, one boss fight, one weapon, one environmental, and yada, yada, yada. Later, if you like the project, we develop it horizontally. So we will make more weapon, more enemy, more boss fight, and we will have a game. So yeah, first years, it was a lot of work on the prototype, and I started working on social media to promote the game. It's a little violent, and it's super weird. And move forward, please. Okay, and in the last 2 years, we were able to have a team and a publisher. This is me showing you my skill set on Unity, on Photoshop by putting all of the team members together in a great style. And yeah, we finally were able to have a contract with these people. It was amazing, it was challenging, but we made it. And finally, we had the money and the power to have a full team and develop the game. 2 years of full work with a team of 14 people, and this was the final result. Let's see if it starts.
Victor Garbanzos declared that the worthy would no longer fear death. We just never got the chance. Infonet came for us. Are we really gonna crash and...
Okay, weird.
Victor Garbanzos declared that the worthy would no longer fear death. We just never got the chance. Infonet came for us.
Okay, I will not show you that again, but it was cool. So, this was the game, and it went good. I didn't become rich or nothing, because nowadays doing indie game, everybody's doing indie game, you know? And at some point you release your game, and in the same days there are 100 other games. So you need to be really, really special to do a great game. But at the same time, I'm super happy, because all of that work came out, the reception was really good. Some flexes in here. When we released the game, we had 100K more wish lists. The Metacritic of the game is 80%. That was great. And we got a shout out from this guy. Who knows Reggie? Yeah, it was. I skipped a bit when I opened Twitter, and it was like, really? And I checked twice if it was a fake account. So I checked 4 times more. It was real account. I was happy about it. One of the features of the game, one of the most important features of the game is the animation. We spent a lot of time on the animation, and mainly the animation was the focus, the seed that make the game start. Because the core idea was to skills on animation. When I started doing the project, I just had the character and I just wanted to do animation. And I used Photoshop, that it's like to sculpt a marble statue with a spoon. So don't use Photoshop to do animation. Maybe you can, it's even cool, but I don't advise it. So the idea was to have frame-by-frame, high-resolution animation. So I based all of the thing, again, from the cartoons, from the big American production cartoons, or from the big Japanese production cartoons. I was not at that stage at all, but I was aiming at the direction, you know? So I started working a lot at the sprites of the game. And, you know, it was a beautiful, beautiful time when I learned a lot, I studied a lot. And again, it's like you had a vision, and at some point the vision is becoming every day more real. You know, it's there, it works. It was really cool. The problem with this is that because I was too much of a noob, I tried to do so much more that I could have done back at time, you know? Each animation in Cookie Cutter took me from 8 to 40 hours. It was a lot of work because, as you can see in here, the character doesn't have just a flat color. Characters, like in cartoons, you know, Rick and Morty, all of the cartoons, it's really uncommon to see the shades. You just see flat colors generally. But I decided to do shades, highlights, details, particles, and there's even tattoos that I had to redraw every frame. You know, there's tattoos on the arms. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, for this reason, it took a lot of time to realize them, but at the same time, it was a challenge that made me satisfied to do it, because I can, you know, test all of my skills every time I do a new animation. And the game got a lot of sprites, I will show you later. The problem in here, or not the problem, but the realization, it was no animator ego. When you do a game that got a lot of animation, the problem is that this thing is moving by itself. When you do a game that got a lot of animation, the problem is that what is happening, it will be cranky, because you want to flex the animation so much. And so the character movement, everything you want to do, it will be delayed by the fact that you draw so many beautiful sprites of animation and the game is slow and cranky. And we didn't want that. The idea was to have a game that was going at 60 FPS, that was super responsive, that you press a button and the main character will sprint and dash and it will be fast and everything. At the same time, we try to put a lot of transition animation between the normal animation in order to give you a smoother idea, a smoother gameplay. For example, generally in video game, the character got an idle, there is like a movement that's looping, and so a run. Between the idle and the run, we made the idle to run, when the character moves his body and starts running. At the same time, when the character was stopping, there was a run to idle when the character was stopping. All of these little stages that we put in the game without removing the feelings to make everything snappy and everything smooth, make the game really cool. It looks like a playable cartoon. I think it's really cool. Every character got a lot of animation, from 20 to 40. This is the character controller of Cherry, the main character alone. It was a lot of animation. And we had to optimize the sprites with an atlas, with atlases, because just Cherry, just this little girl in here alone, walking in an empty environment, was able to make PlayStation 5 crash because it was out of memory. Because we did a really bad job on calculating this kind of thing. Because again, I am an artist, but I don't have anything about tech idea about, you know, optimization or how the machine work. Thank God we were able to make atlases out of the sprites. The sprites are huge. And so now the game is run smoothly. There are more than 2K sprite sheet and a lot of atlases. How do we import sprites in game? We use the most easiest way as possible. Again, no technical at all. So we make the sprite sheet. Every time I finish an animation, we made the sprite sheet into a cell of 4x4, pam, 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 pam. And when you load it in Unity, you will have the animation. Easy, the most easiest way possible. But it was time consuming, because after you finish the animation, you need to cut all of them and place it there. Sometimes you place it a little bit to the left and she will snap during the movement. It was a stupid way to organize the work, by the way. Every frame was a multiple of 512 per 512, ensuring the power of 2. That is that magic that makes your machine work smoother when you got huge sprite. What I didn't know back at time is that there is an easier way to import things in Unity. It's actually now in Unity 6. It's the PSD Importer. That saves a lot of times when you need to do this process. Let me show you how it works. Okay, so we open Unity 6 and we have our animation in Photoshop because, yeah. And we have our animation in Photoshop. Okay, we like the animation. Instead of doing the sprite shit, it's super easy. I just need to save the PSD and load it in Unity. And from here, choose the Unity PSD Importer. So what we want to do now is to show the hidden layers, PAM, and apply. What is happening right now is that not only the importer cut out all of the sprite by itself, but it even generates an atlas. So, you know, at the end of everything, you got everything already cut out, and you even have the atlas. And it's not a problem at all if you want to rework on the file. You just double-click on the file, for example, this one, and we will do some weird adjustment. I don't know. First thing first, we will remove the background. You know what? We will cancel the background because we don't need backgrounds in here. And so we will invert the color. And when you save, well, for sure, it gets updated in here. It gets updated in here, but even in the atlas, that it's recalculate all of its space, so it's super useful. I really wanted to know back at time. I should have saved a lot of work. In the meantime, this went super forward. Okay. Another problem that we didn't understand when we were working at the game was the resolution of the game, because the publisher assured us that we were able to go out for all of the consoles. And so the idea was, okay, so what is the resolution? Maybe there are more powerful, there are more powerful, less powerful one. So the idea was to just make everything at the highest resolution possible, because it's really easy in Unity to fix it later, you know, and to optimize it. So, for example, if you got all of the sprites, you got all of the sprites, and the sprites are huge. The sprites are huge, but it's super easy because this is a 4K sprite sheet. So each one of the cell is 1K, you know? But if you can override super easily for old gen console, for mobile, you just need to create an override and just to, I don't know, I will have this one at 512, apply, and it's automatically rescaled it. And when you generate the build with your game for, I don't know, for mobile, for old gen consoles, you just have to do this and everything will work smoothly, you know? But at the same time, you don't have to redo the project if you're working on new gen, if you want to go old gen. So this was super easy, and yeah, makes us save a lot of time. Things that we had to create during development to make the game. The game is a combat game, it's a fighting game, you know? Being a fighting game means that you need to take care about a lot of things. Hitboxes, when you hit an enemy, you need to know which reaction that enemy will be. If it's a light punch, they will just have a flinch. If it's an hard punch, the enemy will fly away. There are a lot of things you need to calculate when you do a fighting game. And for this, we created a tool. The tool is called the action graph. In here, it says that it's available on the asset store. It's not true. It should have been, but you know, in the games or in the gamers, they need to do things, but there's a lot of work to do. It will be soon. It will be soon. But this tool, it's really, really useful, and it's really saved our life when we had to configure the things in game. For example, let me show you really briefly this tool. Yeah. Okay. You have a window for each one of the attack of the enemy. And in this window, you can configure crazy large hitboxes. You can say, for example, the hitboxes is opening at this frame and closing at this frame. On the main data, you can choose all kind of parameters, the precedence of that hit. So if your attack have a precedence of 3 and the enemy attack at the same time with a precedence of 2, the one with the highest precedence will cancel enemy attack. You can maybe make label for the hit. So for example, if you have a special ability that destroys a special kind of crate, you will label that ability like special ability that destroy crates. And just that will destroy that kind of crate. All of these little things that are so basic, but you need so much when you need to do a fighting game. And at the same time, you can link this move to another one, like it's a combo. You can choose the timing when you're available to link. And a lot of other things and stats and parameters, like, for example, the repulsion force. If this hit makes you fly, how much makes you fly? In which direction makes you fly? With which random curve? Or, you know, in fighting games, they got this thing that when you hit somebody, there is a freeze, like Street Fighter or this game. It's like, tsh. That is what we call hit freeze. With the hit freeze, you can have, you know, the weight of your hit on the enemy. All of these little things that, again, are really helpful when you do a fighting game. This will be available soon. It's still not. Okay. Other cool things that we learn working at the game and that we use Unity or abuse Unity, it's the lighting. Can you see all of those little light bulbs over there? Those are all lighting. So you're moving through the game and there are tons of them everywhere. I love this feature. This is the 2D light system. When we started working at this back at time, it still was experimental. Now it's not experimental anymore, it's a full feature and it's really well structured. So, why we choose this kind of illumination for our game? First thing first, it's a lot of fun to use. I will show you in a while, it's a lot of fun. The second thing is that I assure you that is an integral part and look and of the feeling of what you're trying to build, you know? Let's say that the game right now got more than 10K 2D lights, and we are using 4 different lights layers. I will show you in a while what this means. As you can see, let's see if it starts again, if I go back and forward. As you can see, we misplaced, how we build the level is by misplacing the items in the background. In this way, you will have pretty much a real perspective. Even if everything is weird and isometric, we achieved to make it work in this way. And lights work really good with this. So the cool things about the lights is that if you have, for example, your game have 4 different worlds, and your worlds got, I don't know, 100 assets per worlds, when you start building a level, you will see that even if you got 100 assets, there are not so many. You start seeing, you know, repetition and everything. With the same kind of assets, but by placing colored lights around, you can have different feelings of your environment. So it will be pretty different without having you drawing tons and tons of assets. And another really cool thing is that if you got skills and if you know how to use lights properly, lights are storytelling. You can drive the players through the goal. Players used to follow lights, you know, if you put a strong lights, player will go through the lights. They know, we know, that if you go through the lights, you will find the right path a lot of the time. So, the real cool things about these lights is they are fully integrated with Unity. So they can be game object and they can be used everywhere. You can make prefab out of them. You can animate them. Again, it's a simple feature, but animate a light, like in that example. At that point, you don't have the double jump, so you cannot reach there. But the fact that I give you a visual input to look up there and even a marker on the map allows you later to remember that place, and when you have the double jump, you want to go there and explore. Lights can be really used as storytelling, as to drive player when you want to drive them. It's really fun. I will show you how to use these lights. It's really, they can be really easily customized. And if you are able enough and technical enough, you can even work a lot with secondary texture, shader graph, and post-process with those lights. Again, the result is really, really cool. Let me show you how we use or abuse of lights in the game. So this is a scene that I prepared from the game. As I told you before already, we are using, I will turn off the light. We are using this trick or of misplacing items in the depthness, you know? So you will have this sort of perspective, even if they are all 2D faces, PNGs. So let's try to build a light and place in this. It's super easy. We just go in here and select lights, and let's choose freeform 2D. That is one of my favorite one. Okay, in here we got the 4 layers we created. UI, there's 5, but ignore UI. It's another things. In game we got 4 different layers. There is the foregrounds that illuminating the things that are closer to the camera, like this one, pretty much decoration. There is the background that illuminates everything that is like backgrounds, like these walls and these things over here. So there is the far backgrounds that illuminates the vistas. And the default. The default is the most important one because it illuminates the platform where you can walk. So let's take our 2D light. Let's turn on the light and tell her just to illuminate the backgrounds, for example. We just go in here and we just move it. We raise our intensity and we can have really basic features, super basic but super useful. Like for example, the intensity, easy. Color, easy. The fall off, as you can see, the lights, it's falling off, and you can even have a control over it. And, well, I will show you the volumetric later because it's my favorite feature. Okay, so let's see how we can make this scene long way better. For example, I will have a background light. I will add a background light. And so I will have the background. I don't want it too clear. I don't want it too bright, you know? This kind of game, you should always be a little bit dark. It's cooler. So the default light, I don't want it to be too bright in here too, but I want you to see the platform. I always want the player to see where you can walk and where you cannot walk. Foreground lights, again, it's illuminating this decoration in the foregrounds. This is my favorite light because this got a volumetric in it. What is the volumetric? Is this beautiful effects that makes, you know, it makes the light look like this. The volumetric, a volumetric light like this, it can change the way in the way you dress your level because it gives you something more. It's just not illuminating the scene here, but it makes it pretty. And you can choose, when you choose the light of your volumetric and you see the volumetric effect, you understand how much it will change it. So we got what we call the door light or the exit lights. This should be bright lights that shows you where are the exit from each level or each section of the level where you are. And so we will have a far background light that are illuminating right now our far background, and you can see this huge vista with this industrial thing over there. And another light that illuminate the backgrounds. Imagine that this huge light is coming from the window. I think that it will reflect in the platform. And so yeah, background light is in here. You do everything, you place it in your game. At some point you come back and you said, okay, this is not the mood that I was looking for. But it's super easy. You go back and you change the color of things. For example, this will be a much more tense moment. And super easily, you can have different results over the same feature. I had a lot of fun with this light, but we abused a little bit of them. In the meantime, we're at the end of the presentation. Okay. One of the things that is really useful in this kind of game is a map. The game is too huge. The player can get lost in the map. So we had to come out with an idea for making a map, and an easy way was to create a tool. In here there is another light. It's available on the asset store. It's not in the games. So it will be, but it's not. But mainly how the tool would work, it's super simple. You take a screenshot of your vista on the editor, from the editor, and it will generate you a huge PNG. You can choose how big you want the PNG and everything. After that, the easiest things I could do back at time was to take the images imported in Photoshop, tracing it and giving it a little bit of vibes, you know, a little bit of taste. And with this, we were able to do great maps. The feature is super cool because when the map is undiscovered, you have a fog of war, so it's black. But when the character walks, she will have around an aura that will unveil the map. Again, super basic feature, but it can save your life if you need to create a map system in the game. It will be available on the asset store, but it's not. Sparkles and shaders. It's a fighting game. Again, you go fast, you get weapons, you get guns, enemy do special attacks, there's weird magic things. What you need to do is to use particles. Not being technical enough pushed me to do what I was able to do better, to draw the particles, but at the same time, using Unity basic particle system allowed me to do cool little things like sparkles. I mean, this effect is drawn, the yellow one, but all of the sparkles around, it's a simulation from the basic Unity particle system. To make you understand better, nothing special at all, it's just this one. If we're going in here, visual effects, maybe it's this one, yeah, why not? So in here, I draw, let me put it in loopers. Okay, in here, as you can see, the purple smoke is drawn. Even the circle is drawn. The rest is just particles. Simple Unity particles that you can use it from the particle system, you know? You choose a shape that emits something, you choose the speed of the emission, the size, the basic, guys, the basic. Mainly we tried to achieve the biggest result with the easiest tool possible, you know? In the easiest way possible. Plus, as you can see right now, the particle is glowing. It's glowing because right now there is a post-processing effect. I will talk about the post-processing later. And you will see it's really different when we turn it off. Okay, and this is it, the post-process. The last things that make us able to do a game that is good looking was the post-process. With the artistic vision of have everything with cool color, cool composition, cool concept, the last things that you need at the end to have everything well wrapped up is a cool post-process. What post-process can do? Okay, let me cancel this and let me open this. Post-process. Okay. I don't know if the screen shows it to you in a good way, but mainly without post-process and with post-process. Let me show what we are using. Again, because the idea was to go out there on all of the console, we prefer to be cheap and not to overdo. Because you can overdo when you are on the last gen consoles, you know? But it's better not overdo when you need to handle with other consoles. So there is a vignette, there is this easy things, black things around the corner of the screen. If the game is a little bit dark, this will help. So there is a color adjustment. It's super easy. You just need to put a volume, a post-process volume in here, and to add overrides. You know, you got a lot of effects you can choose. This is the one that we used. There is a color adjustment that put up the contrast and a color filter that make it brighter. This is my favorite feature because it allows you to fix and to choose for your level how you want the balance of the colors of the shadow, the midtones, and the highlight. If you are an artist and if you know about color theory, you can do great things about that. And it's a lot of fun. And least but not last, the bloom. The bloom is that cool things that make things, you know, more bright, make it shiny. It even make the particles shines. I already, let's see if I can put the particles back and show you the difference between with bloom or without bloom. Visual effects. So if I remove the post-process and play the particle again, can you see that it's not shining anymore? Yeah. So this little thing was cool because when you have it in game, all of your attacks, they will shine. This is how I explain particles and post-processing and bloom in general. So to wrap it up, this confused semi-Italian presentation, my idea as an artist is to stick to your own vision. Again, today there is a lot of different games coming out every day. If you want to do the difference, let's try to be yourself, you know? Don't go for the safe road because there is no safe road, there is not easy money. But if you go following your vision, you will have a lot of fun. And it's important that you have fun if you're doing a game. This is my 2 cents, you know? You should never compromise to your vision, not for marketing, not for commercial. If you have that idea, you are a gamer. You know what kind of game you want to play. Maybe in the end, when the game is over, you say, yeah, you know, that was a stupid idea. But at least it was your stupid idea, you know? Evaluate since the beginning the use of 2D lighting. And don't abuse 2D lighting because you have a lot of problem later when you need to optimize that. I spent months to optimize those little lights. And another thing, the last one that makes me wise to share it, it's something that I read lately. Be comfortable with the idea of being uncomfortable. A lot of these things I had no idea at all when I started developing, not only during the prototype, but during production with the team and with the publisher. I had no idea at all, but this never stopped me to do it. You don't have to be skilled, you don't have to know everything to do something because nobody knows everything. So the best things to do is being comfortable with the idea of being uncomfortable. I'm super wise, Okay, a couple of things related to this if you are interested in art and in Unity. You can read ebooks for artists and developers on unity.com how-to. There is a lot of free things and material that can help you learn a lot of things. Later today, if you're still interested in this, there is a speech of Russ Campbell, great guy, that it's called 2D Workflow and AI Enhancements. Yesterday I tried something that he made, it was amazing. You take a sprite on Unity that is low resolution, and AI generating, you press a button and it will raise the resolution. I was like, oh, that's cool. It's super cool, it's a super cool guy. He will talk today later. Or you can check the 2D sample project, again, always in the site. Or, there's a lot of free 2D Unity ebook where you can read a lot of things and learn a lot of things about art. That is everything. Thank you so much for your time, guys. I think that if you got questions, we got time for questions. Wait, it brings the microphone.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. I'd like to know if you used some software other than Photoshop for animation.
I was only using Photoshop. At some point, we had another animation. His name is Damian Chancho. He's from Argentina. And the guy drew Castlevania on Netflix. It's a really great guy. And he was using another program, but I don't remember the name. But he was using another program, and I was like super envious, like, okay, I need to learn the program, but I don't have time, and I like Unity, and I like Photoshop too much. But yeah, he was using something else. We split the work. I was doing the main character and the boss fights, and he was doing the enemy and the NPCs. But yeah, the other program, it looks easier to work with on animation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, thank you for the presentation. Super awesome work. The rescale override feature that you showed, is that a Unity 6 only feature?
Which one again, sorry?
The rescale, you did like an override to rescale everything for different platforms?
Yes, it's coming on Unity 6. Yeah. You will talk with Russ later. It will be at the 2D booths over there. It will be me. There will be a lot of people over there. We can even show it to you.
Okay, wonderful. My other question is, in the documentation that you were sharing, is there good documentation of sort of the upper limits of performance for different platforms, of like how many 2D lights you can put in there before it breaks everything? You said you had PlayStation 5 crashing, so like, where's the documentation of the limitations?
I think there is a limit, and we reached that limit. But I can tell you what is that limit. I can ask the team to send me something at some point. Maybe if we're still here, I can show it to you.
Okay.
But yeah, again, we abuse of them. We use more than we should at some point.
Thank you.
Hi, thanks for presentation. When you show the PSD Importer, how you do frames, like in general, you have the layers, obviously.
Yeah.
But like, you have the fixed frame time, or just you set up the Photoshop frames. Like, how you handle this?
The things is that he cuts the frames by itself. Later, if you want to time those, you can use something. You can use the animator, but if you are... In our case, it was a lot of animation. It was complex. We came out with an animation system called Power Animator. It's this little tool in here. I think this is available on the asset store because it's not ours, so should be available. How does this work is that after you have your sprite cut and you can have it with the PSD Importer, you will load them in here. So, for example, let me open this animation. Okay, and you can place it in here. You can choose how many frames per second. Cookie Cutter is run at 16 frames per second. And so in here, you can choose, for example, if this frame should be longer, because I don't know. In animation, you know that if you keep some frame longer on the screen, you have a major impact and stuff like that. There is thousands of this kind of program for free in the asset store that allows you to have more control on the animation. So to cut it out, it's super simple. The tool do it himself, or you can do it manually. Later, to work on them, you can find a lot of things, a lot of different things.
Okay, and second question is, do you choose the PSD for animation or per character, and why you don't choose it per character?
Because back at time, I didn't know that was the system. And I was used to do just what I know how to do. You know, the production was starting. I had my method, I had my style, and that was the style that I was most used to. Again, I repeat this a lot of time, I'm not a tech guy. So that system was working good, let's use this system. But later, if you're not stupid enough like me, and if you do 2 minutes of research, you discover things like the PSD Importer. That should have saved me hours of work, man, hours of work. So yeah, not being technical, it's a problem sometimes.
Okay, thanks for the answer.
Thank you. Other questions? Thank you, my microphone guy.
Hello. Well, thanks a lot for the presentation. It was really, really cool. In one of your slides there, I noticed there was an animator window with like a billion states.
Yep.
And from what this image was a bit small, but I guess that like pretty much every state was transitioning from that any state, that magical one there. I was just wondering because as animations get complex like this, like managing states and like the rules in between them, for example, which states can transition to which other states, right? Like, so how did you manage that? Like, did you try, for example, setting up those rules within the animator or just, and then decided to transfer it to code, or what was your experience there?
My experience was, Francesco, the programmer, I did the animation, can you build it? This was my experience. So yeah, I had the idea of all of the statues in betweens, but the poor Francesco has to build it. I have no idea how, but if you want to contact me, I will let you talk with Francesco. He's a wise guy and he knows a lot about these things that for me is like black magic. More questions? The guy over there.
I want to ask, how is the process to mix your expertise in arts with the gamification techniques? For example, I am reading, I develop now a serious game, and after I finish my development, I am reading the book Octalis Framework. I don't know if you know about this, but here you can learn about the techniques. For example, if your video game have an epic meaning, if your user have the empowerment to decide something, and in this book you can learn how make engagement your project, your video game for your target. So I don't know how you because for one hand maybe one people can be expert in development on artists, but at the end, if you don't have this type of engagement for the children, maybe will be not a good video game. So my question is, I don't know if you manage some framework or some gamification technique. How is the process to mix them with your expertise?
I think that the things that I did for this, it was having a team skills in different things. There was the programmer that is a really well-trained, long-time programmer, and I really trust him. There was the game designer, the level designer. As a director, I had a vision, and I tried to make the work of each one of them successful. That was my role. A lot of the times people think that if you are the director, you will be the one that says, no, this is too blue, I want it green. That is not. You need to make the work of your people successful without destroy them with your ego. So I trust them. The programmer got his competence, the audio guy got its skill set, the game designer got its skill set. When we came out with the idea, and we will brief the idea, I just have the art vision of the idea. Maybe can the main character, I don't know, have this ability that allow her to fly for a brief period in the sky, and maybe if there is an enemy in between of your path, you can kick the enemy away, stuff like that. The programmer generally tells me, yeah, this can work, or Stefano, please stop doing this, it is stupid. And I try to adjust the idea based on that. But again, you don't have all of the competence, you know? You don't know all of the things. So in my case, I had to trust skilled men to do the job, you know?
Thank you.
Any other question?
Thank you again.
It's you again.
Yes. So talking about finding your publisher, did you already have your team, your core team in place before the publisher? Did you hire after the publisher? You said, I think, 4 years to make the vertical slice. So yeah, talk a bit about the process of building the vertical slice, your team, finding the publisher.
Okay, the long years before having the publisher, it was just me, the programmer. I first started with colleagues. We're passionate about the project, let's work together. After 2 weeks, they're gone. Some people stay for 1 month, some people stay for 2 weeks. I had to restart the project from scratch 6 times with 6 different people. At the end, you know, you're so frustrated because you see the potential, you see that it can be cool. So at the end, I invested a little bit of money and I hired my old master, Francesco Bizzini, the programmer. He entered in the project, he was super organized, and with him, we were able to do the entire vertical slice. We were just 4 team core members. I was doing everything related to art, animation art, background, particle, everything. Francesco, the programmer, was doing the code. So there were the audio guy. It was fun. It was there making audio on everything, making sound effects on everything, and the writer. Because the game, I love narrative games, and I tried as much as possible and in my best chance to make this one a game with narrative. And I called this guy from my city to make the story. We wrote a lot, and we had a lot of fun, and it took years to have everything written down. So it just was the 4 of us reaching the publisher. We started growing on social media, pam, 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 and at some point, publisher came. And I said, okay, maybe this is the right moment to go there too. I had even huge names, but I don't want to say the names because they reject us. But I had the attention of huge names. I was like, really? After that, we had the deal with the publisher. They gave us the money for me to hire the team and to start the big production. You know, when you approach the publisher, you need to have a document that tell them how much my game will cost, how will I spend your money, where's the milestone, and yada, yada, yada. So I tried to came out with an idea. This is another one of those things that I had no idea about, and you need to be efficient as much as possible. And it was pretty good. And I had to hire, in the end, we were 14 people from all around the world. It was a great experience, and even horrible at the same time. An horrible, great experience. We got time for 2 more questions. It's you again, but you move from there to
yeah. for have the opportunity to ask more questions. No, I want to ask you because I manage one project in the university, so I receive money and I contract one illustrator for help me to make my serious game. And I am no expertise in game developer, so my question is, when I start this project, I trying to see some template for a game designer template, because I wrote the narrative in Word, I put the task in Excel, and I send mockups to my illustrator in PowerPoint. So I feeling that I am not so professional. So I don't know if you have some recommendation how to send my idea to Illustrator to make the art.
My recommendation is be gloriously unprofessional. Be more unprofessional until you start to understand how to be professional. It's unavoidable to do mistakes, to do bad communication with your team member, to do a lot of mistakes again. That's unavoidable. Because again, you don't have all of the skills. This is a journey to learn things, you know? And maybe in the end, what you will do will be glorious or it will be horrible, but you don't have it. So keep being unprofessional, but keep it gloriously unprofessional, you know? At some point, you will be good. Maybe.
Thank you.
Last question, guys. over there. Today I'm even a motivator. Keep doing that. You will be good.
Hello, and thank you for your time. In this slide, you mentioned transition animations, and I want to ask how do you keep them under control? Because whenever I work in a 2D game platformer, for example, I always tend to start thinking, okay, I need to a transition animation between working and falling, and then running, fall, and it gets way too big. And
Yeah.
how do you do it?
The thing is that when I started doing this, I was coming with the experience of Unity, working on so many little projects, and over the years learning one thing more and one thing more and one thing more. At some point, I was ready to do mine and to do those things that I wanted to do in the Unity projects, like what is happening if I put another stages when you're falling, and other things that we add, for example. When you jump, you have this animation called land. You know, when your weight is moving down. What I always wanted in a video game is that when you run and jump, and you will keep running, you will have a run land. So you will do. You know, it's so smooth when you have it in game. But again, it's complex. It's a lot of animation status that you need to add, and you can do it just when you have enough competence to start from the basic and add. You will have your vision at the beginning of the perfect game that you want to do, but to achieve it, it's not easy at all. And in the beginning, you need to learn a lot of things, and you need to do a lot of mistakes again. So yeah, you can do all of this animation, you can do all of these cool things, but good luck with that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys. This is it. Thank you so much.